not seen these cards yet, we will be viewing these cards together for the first time, of course. And so what I would like for you to do is to just go ahead and relax yourself right now, kind of clear your mind out, breathe deeply. You can pause this video if you would like to, and just connect with yourself for a few moments. Now, what I would like for you to do is I want you to choose a number 1, 2, or 3. If you don't want to choose a number, you definitely do not have to. That's perfectly fine. If you want to just stay open to what it is that your guides or your higher self or source wants you to know, then go ahead and do that as well. That is perfectly fine. Right now, we are clearing all negative energy and we are only inviting in positive energy right now. We are surrounded by divine love and light right now. We are protected as we do our channeled messages right now. Now, what I like to do, I started off doing my live readings on Instagram, but now I am transitioning over to YouTube, so awesome. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe below. I believe I said that in the beginning, but just go ahead and subscribe so that you can know when I do post. Make sure that you turn on the notifications. Make sure you click all to know when I upload. And yes, so if you haven't already, this is deck number 1, this is deck number 2, and this is deck number 3. Now, I am going to go ahead and move these out of the way. And for the first deck, I chose the Stone Grow, and I'm not really sure why, but we're going to find out right now. And if my voice sounds kind of rusty, it's because it is 11:26 at night for me. Yes, and I live in Los Angeles, so I'm not really sure where you are, but if it's morning for you, cool. If it's evening or night, that's cool. But again, for me, it is nighttime. So yeah, but anyway, here's the girl. I don't know why I really love this. I think it's the colors, and I really love earthy colors. Like, I don't know what it is, but I love those colors, the browns, the dark greens, just like stuff like that. I'm in love with stuff like that. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive into these cards. Now, I chose a series of different cards. I am combining tarot and oracle together. The only time I use either or is if I'm doing a reading for somebody or like one of my, I like to call you guys like my soul group or like my spirit people or what have you. That is a time where I will only use tarot or oracle, or I may just use both. It just depends on the mood. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's go ahead and dive right into this. So right now, what I want to say is that for some reason, I cannot help but feel as though we finally have just kind of like made our minds up about something. Like something was realized and something was processed, and we were like, you know what? This just kind of is what it is, and I'm accepting it for what it is. And because of that, it's like, yo, I finally feel better and I'm finally happy and it's finally okay. Because what I kind of feel like was in our recent past was we may have been dealing with people who wanted things like, you know, kind of like their way and like their way only. And I also kind of feel like these people were just kind of like too pushy when it comes to certain things. Like these energies were just too pushy. It was just like, you know what? I just can't, right? And so I feel like this was like a part of either ourselves or another energy that we finally had to release so that we can get to the state of, and this is not really just about fulfillment, but this is just like this ultimate state of like relaxation and like us just kind of being overwhelmed and like filled with, you know, these exciting emotions, right? And I think the thing is though, is that with this, like what I'm triggered to say, and by the way, guys, like I like to go based off of my own intuition. Of course, like I've read, you know, some tarot books and things like that, but I like to just, again, I just like to channel them myself. Like I just like to see how I'm triggered, okay? So anyway, yeah. So with this, the first thing that I notice is that we have the Knight of Wands. And normally, whenever I see wands, I always think of like this heightened message, right, I always think of like a heightened message. And I also think of things, it's like a heightened message or like news, right? But when it comes to the Knight of Wands, what I get from him is I get this energy of just like, look, I am not here for like a long time. I am not here for, you know, for all these great things. Like, I just want to live like, and I don't want to say like living like in just this moment, but it's like, look, this is the only thing that I want from you right now. And that's it. Like, I don't want any strings attached. I don't want nothing. Right. And so I feel like this is like, and then on top of that, we also have the Nine of Pentacles. And so whenever I see the Nine of Pentacles, I'm always triggered to feel like this is the final, is we're approaching the final step of satisfaction. We're approaching the final step of, okay, I know that my future is set in stone at this point. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and soak it up right now, because the next moment that I'm about to come up on is about to be so monumental. It's about to be legendary. And that's what this is. And that's honestly like what I get from that. And like, not only that, it's like whenever I see the Nine of Pentacles, I always kind of think of just kind of being in tune with everything that is around you. It's kind of, and kind of accepting, what is around you as a part of you. That's kind of what I get too. And just kind of looking at all the abundance, that the world, that the earth has to offer as well. And then, of course, like when I see the Ace of Cups, what I get from that is I always get just like this overwhelming sense of just like positive and like tears of joy type of thing. Do you know what I mean? And so with these three together, what this makes me kind of feel like is like, yes, like in our recent past, like we understand, or we understood that these energies that were around us, they just were not meant to last, and we may have found ourselves in the midst of like, why me, you know what I mean? Or like, why this, like, why is this not lasting? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I feel like we attached ourselves to something that was not good for us at one point, or we attached ourselves to this energy that only wanted one thing from us. Or, and I don't really want to say that as far as like, it doesn't have to do with relationships, but if it is, fine. But this is just something that was only there for like a certain season, and it just was not meant to last. But the thing is, what we got out of that though was we got what we needed, because that thing that was around us at that time, again, it wasn't meant to last, but it has gone, it has passed, and that's perfectly fine, because we only needed it for like that one time or that one season. And we've gathered everything that we needed to know from that. We've seen everything that we needed to see from that. We found all the mystery, we dived into, the nits and the grits of it. Do you know what I mean? And to me, what this makes me feel like is we just kind of finally came to this realization of, wow, this is what this was, or this is what I needed. And I'm finally happy that, like, dang, like, I got what I needed. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes it's bittersweet, because at the same time, like, when we get what we need from, certain sources, sometimes it doesn't come in the way that we want to. But what I've come to realize, what I've come to know, is that if you ask to receive something, it doesn't always mean that you're going to receive it the way that you want to, especially if you are not setting your intentions properly, right? So, for example, if you say something like, I want this Lamborghini or something like that, right? Well, how are you going to get the Lamborghini? Are you going to find it across the road? Are you going to find somebody in there? I'm not even going to be too dark right now, but are you going to, did somebody give it to you? Or, did you steal it? Like, do you know what I mean? You say that you want it, but how you got it was not really set properly, right? And that's the thing too. It's like, look, if you are setting your intention for something, understand that paying attention to the detail is very important, right? And what I want to say too is that with this pull in particular, I just kind of feel like this is, again, I know that I'm repeating myself, but I cannot help but feel like that whatever that was, we did it. We feel like it wasn't right. We feel like we should have received it in a different way. But at the same time, it is the outcome, or it is a now that we should focus on, right? And you are basically like on that brink of, okay, finally, like finally, it's about to happen. And whatever it is that we're about to receive right now, this is something that we have been building. We've been building for this for years, because whenever I see the nine, whenever I see pentacles, I always think of like something that was like planted. You know what I mean? And it takes time to brew. Do you know what I mean? It takes time to brew and it takes time to grow. And that's really what I see. And like, it's like this moment is finally paying off. And then on top of that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to continue to read on top of that. Hold on a second. Yeah, so I'm just looking at our other cards here just to make sure that I'm getting more messages. So yeah, and like that's kind of what I get from that. And then on top of that, we also have Magical Map Shifter. We have, oh, that's him here. Magical Map Shifter. And then we have the Crow, which is one of my favorite animals, by the way. We have the Crow, which is considered mystery. We have High Priestess, Donna. You have divine knowledge that can help others through your spiritual teaching. Cool beans. Get grounded. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. Damn, didn't I say that earlier? I'm like not even kidding. I remember saying something along the lines of we are in tune with something like around us or something like that. Or like we're just kind of like I'm sorry guys, it's so funny. Whenever I'm doing a reading, I geek out sometimes because like I'll say something and then like I'll pull another card that basically validates what I say and I geek out. So forgive me for like just like laughing. I'm kind of silly sometimes. Your commitment is being tested. First quarter moon. And then, of course, we have I praise the goddess and the god. Wise one. Gone within your current situations. So, one thing that I want to do, that I want to point out, is that remember how we were talking about like us just kind of figuring out, what it is that we needed from that. We've learned what we needed to learn from that. What I'm triggered to say is that even though, again, it probably didn't happen the way that we wanted it to, but when I see these two cards here, what I kind of feel like is this one is saying that you are wise in your choices. You are wise when it comes to doing what it is that you need to do. And you are wise in deciphering what is good for you and what is not. And that's really just kind of what I get from these two cards here. Like, I really kind of feel like what it is like, even though you may not have received that message the way that you wanted to, you were able to channel your knowledge into and make it work for you. Right? You were able to, what is that, alchemy? Like when you're turning something, into nothing and things like that, when you're transmuting your energies and making them work for you is really what you did. And that was really wise of you to do. And you may not even know that you have that, but I'm here to tell you right now that yes, you do. And what I feel like our spirit guides are telling us is that like no matter what the situation is, or no matter how it played out, or no matter how it happened like that for a reason. And those of you who are in tune with the universe, you know that there are no such thing as accidents. So everything happens exactly the way that it should be. And I feel like the reason why that happened that way was because you needed that in order to gain some brownie points to say, you know what? Okay, cool. I don't like this. I don't like the way it happened. It only happened for like a short time, but at the same time, I got what I needed to learn from that. And I feel like the fact that we're here in this, in this reality, in this realm, I feel like we are here to observe, collect, and take back to source. And we are all here to get to know ourselves, right? Because life will exist at any given opportune moment. It will exist, period. Do you know what I mean? And we are here to evolve, but the only way that we can evolve is through gaining knowledge. And so sometimes situations don't happen the way that we pictured it or the way that we want to, but I'm here to remind you that that is okay, because what you have to understand is that there is so much mystery in that. There is so much mystery in that. And then to me, like, I'm also kind of triggered to say, a cult. For some reason, I'm thinking about a cult for some reason. And for those of you that know what a cult literally just means hidden. So what I feel like, out of the situation, you were able to figure out things about yourself that you didn't even know that you had. You were able to tune and tap into the things that are going on around you. And you were able to say, you know what? I am following my intuition. I am using the wisdom that is embedded in my DNA. And that is how I am going throughout my life right now. And that is how I'm making my decisions. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? And what I also want to say is that this knowledge that you have, we were all born with this knowledge, right? We all are existence experiencing itself. So we have the knowledge. So what's happening is these situations that are coming from, that are happening to us right now, or the situations that we're in, what's happening is that we are being reminded of our true and our divine nature. And that's what I'm triggered to say. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard as hell to, and excuse my French, but it's really hard to stay true to what it is that we know. And sometimes that's hard because these things happen and we're like, why is this happening this way? Why is it so overwhelming? Why is it happening like this? But at the same time, we are being challenged. And the reason why it's happening is because we are being challenged, right? We're being challenged to see if we are going to go with our intuition, or to see if we are going to stray away from that. And each time we stray away from that, we are stepping out of our power and we're saying, I cannot do this. And no, like, I can't make that decision. And sometimes we often sometimes we lose faith in ourselves. We lose faith in our ability, and not even just faith, but we lose what's the word that I'm looking for? Confidence. That's the word. Sometimes we lose our confidence when it comes to making decisions, and sometimes we get overwhelmed with making those decisions. But I'm here to tell you that everything is okay, because what happens is like, we need to remember to just to ground ourselves. That's why we need to remember to ground ourselves and understand. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I'm channeling right now. It's wild. Magical map shifter. Excuse me. What we need to understand is that we are the ones who can shift. We can shift our reality through our perception. And if I want you to just take a moment to look at this card here. Like, this magical shapeshifter, he has so many different things going in a circle. So first of all, I'm triggered to say that a circle, for those of you who like mathematics, 0 is the most absolute number that there is. 0 is one of the only numbers that you can write over and over and over and over and over again without picking up your pen or pencil or marker, whatever you're drawing it with, which means that that is a perpetual state that is infinite. So when I see magical map shifter, what I am seeing is, and on top of that, he has a blindfold on. And so that tells me that he does not need to go based on his senses. He is going purely based off of intuition, because he's done this infinitely. He has done this so many times. And that is what we have to understand. These situations that we are in, we have been in them so many times before. And we are not going to die until we get it right. We are not leaving until we have mastered every single thing that we need to master, right? And so with this magical map shifter, what he's doing is he is understanding that there are so many different ways to go, right? There are so many different ways to go. And again, this is something that he's used to. He's done this so many times before. And he's grounded. He's just so calm and he's grounded. He is calm and he is grounded in his approaches, because he knows that he has the wisdom. He understands that and he knows that. And that he is you, whether you are male or female or however you identify as, excuse me. This is how you are channeling your messages, excuse me, and it's through your intuition, right? Because again, you've done this so many times before. So there is no reason for you to sit here and doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself. Doubt yourself for what? Do you know what I mean? Tap out of what the world is telling you. Tap out of that. Like, that is so toxic. And I had to learn myself to stop doubting my abilities all the time. Do you know what I mean? And I'm going to be honest with you and share this with you. My number ones, like, to be honest, like, I see so many people out here who call themselves spiritual and, who have like, all this fancy stuff and like all this nice stuff. And I'm just like, yo, they do their YouTube videos and they do their Instagram videos. And I'm like, yo, like, am I ever going to be like that one day? Like, do I have that type of knowledge? And I have to just sit back and say, you know what? Stop comparing yourself to other people. Their journey is not yours, right? We're ultimately going to get to the same point one day, but we have different paths. Right? We all have different paths. And that's what he also understands, is that we have a different way of doing things. Right? Sometimes they're unorthodox, sometimes they're traditional, sometimes they're, in the middle between both. Do you know what I mean? And so we just have to understand that we are the ones who have the knowledge and we are being tested right now. And so what I feel like this is saying is that I praise the goddess and the god. I feel like that's really just you honoring both sides of yourself. And when you are making these decisions, you are understanding that you are a walking depiction of duality. That is what you are. You are a dual being. Do you understand what I mean? And we have to understand that with wisdom, when it comes to wisdom, we have to understand that. We have to understand, what we are, where we are, and why we're here, right? We are here to observe, collect, and go. Observe, collect, and go. That is what we're doing. And so if you ever find yourself lost when it comes to making a decision, if you ever find yourself just stuck saying, why did this happen this way? Why is it like this? Why do I feel overwhelmed? Understand that being grounded and getting grounded is the way to go. There's so much mystery in what this world has to offer. There's so much mystery in this universe. There's so much mystery in this reality, in this dimension. And it's wild, right? There's so many things that we cannot see with our naked eye. And what we have to do is we have to close our naked eye and open up that other eye, right? The pineal. And we have to understand and open up our spirits and our souls and say, you know what? I am going to go and be guided with my spirit, with my intuition. I'm going to allow my spirit guides to speak through me. I am a part of my spirit guides. My spirit guides are me and I am them. Do you know what I mean? And that's what we have to understand. So please don't ever feel like you need to, give up, or please do not feel like you are making the wrong decision, because what I feel like I want to say to you is that you are on the right path. You are doing exactly what it is that you need to do, and there's nobody that's going to stop you. And remember, the decision that you make, you may not have, wanted it to be presented that way, but understand that you are on the brink of gaining something that is legendary. I'm not kidding. Like, you are on the verge of something that is so awesome, and you've waited for this for so long. So my message to you is, understand who you are, understand your power, understand that there is so much mystery that this world has to offer. Understand that whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever it is that you are gaining, you may be, gaining a job, you may be gaining, like a job that you've been wanting to do that has to do with, like, maybe psychology or something with the mind, something that's deep. Do you know what I mean? Something, I don't know why I feel like I want to say something with the occult, but whatever this is, like, this is just to deepen your thoughts, right? You may have to channel some Scorpio energy, and you guys know that Scorpios they just are always in the depths of their feelings, or if not always, they have the tendency to be. So I feel like maybe we should just kind of channel our, Scorpio and our Virgo hermit vibes and say, you know what, let me do some introspection. Let me, bring my emotions to the, to the surface and see what it is. Let me explore my mind. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why I want to say that people are doing psychedelics, but yeah. And that is it for my number 3s. Thank you so much. I hope this resonated with you. I intend to make this video timeless. So yeah. And we are moving on to our number 2, number 2s. Okay. And of course I have a clear quartz here. I don't know. I guess something to do with clearing some type of energy. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Well then, what I feel like is going on right now with these is, first of all, I see two cards here from our major arcana. Now, what I want to ask you, because we have the Empress here, we have the High Priestess in reverse, and then we have the Five of Wands in reverse. Now, what I want to say is, first of all, I want to ask you something. What I want to ask you is, why do you feel the need to... I feel like I want to ask you, like, why do you feel the need to do things the way you're doing them? Why are you not living in your truth? Why are you not... Like, what is it? Like, is it something going on around you right now that's making you feel like you have to blend in or fit in or something like that? Like, is that what's going on? Because what I see, what I'm triggered to say is that, first of all, we have the Five of Wands. And everybody, and I know that this is going to be cliche for some of you, but for those of you that don't know tarot or like don't know anything about the cards, is that the Five of Wands, first of all, has to do with fire, passion, anger, things of that nature, right? And we have the Five of Wands reversed. Now, the Five of Wands reversed to me means that, in my own personal opinion, I feel like the Five of Wands reverse is saying there was a moment in time where I was trying to prove something. There was a moment in time where I was trying to do this because I wanted to be right, or I wanted, this attention because I feel like I deserve it. And so I'm going to do what I have to do in order to get, where I need to go, right? And we also have the High Priestess here. Now, the High Priestess here, we all know, has to do with our intuition, right? She also has to do with duality. She also has to do with discovering the mind, right? She also has to do with diving deep and going within our emotions, right? And so we also have the Empress. Now, we all know that the Empress has a lot to do with receptivity. We know that the Empress has to do with, being in tune, with nature, right? And so what I'm kind of feeling is, again, is what is it that you are opening yourself up to that makes you feel like you have to hide who you truly are, or you have to like block your own intuition? Why are you doing that? Like, what is it that, like, why do you feel like you need to do that? Because what I feel like is happening is that maybe we have, or maybe you have been in certain situations that made you feel like, you were being a bit too giving. Like, do you feel like you were being a bit too giving? Do you feel like you were being a bit too open? Like, what is it that, like, what is it? And then also, like, when I see, the Empress, I also, for some reason, think of a mother. For some reason. Like, I think of mother. What's going on at home? Like, what is it that, like, is there somebody in your reality that you trusted to mother you? Or is there somebody in your reality that you trust, that you saw like as a mother figure or a sister or anyone who had, or any, woman or feminine energy for that matter? Did you feel like you had to prove yourself to her? Like, what happened? Do you know what I mean? Like what is this? What is it what subconscious issue is buried see, this is a deeply rooted issue, is what I'm saying. This is definitely deeply rooted. And what I'm led to say for my number twos is that, honestly, I feel like there is something that happened at home. There is this type, I don't want to say trauma, because I feel like that word is like overused. But what I feel like I want to say is that there is a situation that you have that happened that was not properly taken care of. And I really feel like I'm being led to say that it is by someone who you saw as a mother figure. For some reason, I am saying that. Or maybe maybe you're the mother, right? And maybe you feel like your efforts are not paying off. Maybe you feel like your own, intuition is blocked. maybe you feel like you're stuck in a situation to where you just like cannot get out of, or you feel like nobody is understanding, or maybe you feel like, okay, sorry about that, guys. I actually ended up dropping my phone, so my bad, because I record off of my phone. So I'm going to continue with these messages right now. I'm going to continue with this message. So basically what I feel like I want to say is that, again, this is a situation I feel like that has to do with like a feminine energy, right? Now this could be a mother, or like a mother figure, or a sister, or a grandmother, or whomever. I really feel like this is that situation, or you may be that person, or it may or may not be a feminine energy, or it may or may not be, but I really sense a lot of feminine energy for some reason. And what I feel like is, even if it's not a woman, like this could be someone who, you may be a man who, is channeling his feminine energy, or is neglecting that part of himself. But there's something that is being neglected here, right? Or maybe somebody feels neglected. Either way, the energy of this pole is straight up neglect, and that's what I'm seeing. And what I feel like is that our efforts, it's like for some reason it's like our energy is off balance, and we are not seeing things clearly, right? We are not seeing things clearly, and it seems kind of clouded, and so it's kind of hard to figure out what the truth is. Or we may be holding something back, or this may be a situation that I feel like we are confused about for some reason. And it's so funny because as I was shuffling these cards, like when I was shuffling the number twos, it felt kind of hesitant, right? It was very hesitant for some reason. And what I'm kind of feeling is from this is that we are blocking, I feel like we're blocking our transformation for some reason. Like there may be like some type of transformation that, or like some type of metamorphosis that needs to happen, and it for some reason cannot happen. And one thing that I have to tell you is that in order for us to transform, what I'm learning is that no matter what, speaking your truth is always highly important. So right, just by these cards alone, I feel like something needs to be said that is not being said. I'm going to say that again. Something needs to be said that is not being said. I really feel like that. I really feel like this is something that we've been having, buried within our subconscious for so long. And maybe we were afraid at one point to speak our truth and to say what it is that we feel. I think that maybe there have been times in the past where we were trying to be open, and we were trying to understand how the other person felt, and we were trying to like tap in, to their feelings and how they felt about a situation. But at the same time, I feel like we were kind of dimming our own light. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we were in a way, we were not honoring what it is or what it was that we wanted. We were not honoring our own intuition. We were not honoring our own feelings. We were not honoring our own cycle. We were not honoring our own responsibility. And what I feel like is we have a responsibility to speak our truth, because nobody else is going to speak it for us. And I feel like this may be, a home situation that we're dealing with. I feel like this could be, you standing up to your family, or this could be you standing up to, your primary caregiver, the feminine energy that is in your life right now. I feel like maybe it is time to step up, because look, this is how you're feeling, and it's highly important that you say something about it. And I know that it's easier said than done. Sometimes, if you're younger, you're watching this, you may be like, well, I can't do that because, my mom or my dad or blah, 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 blah. I can't do that because I could get in trouble. And do you know what I mean? Like, I understand. And so what I feel like is that even if, we're not underage, even if we're, in our grown years, sometimes it's hard still to say things to people or in our families that needs to be said. But understand that no matter who it is, even if it's not your family, it could be just somebody in your reality or people that you interact with on a day-to-day basis. It could be your coworkers, your friends, cousins, family, whomever, right? There's something that needs to happen, that needs to be said, and we need to understand that sometimes, again, we just need to say it. I keep saying say it. for some reason. I'm not sure why yet, but it is our responsibility. Like, we cannot get from point A to point B by not moving or taking action. We cannot get there by not moving. We cannot get there by saying, you know what? I am going to be open to myself. I'm going to tap into my own intuition. I'm going to tap into my own inner knowing, and I'm going to do this the best way that I can. See, the thing about the Empress is what I feel like is often overlooked is that even though she's extremely graceful in her approach, she still speaks her truth regardless. And she needs nobody to fix her crown. She fixes her own crown. Do you know what I mean? She fixes her own crown. She needs nobody to do that for her. And what I kind of see is that you are at a time of your life where you need your crown fixed. You need your crown fixed, and nobody's going to fix it for you. You are going to fix your own crown. It is your responsibility to do that. It is your responsibility to take the action that you need in order to speak your truth, but not even just that, to get to the point to where you need to go. The only way for you to get to the point to where you need to go is by speaking your truth. And I know that I'm repeating myself, but I feel like this needs to be drilled into our heads. We need to speak our truth. It is so important. I feel like some of our throat chakras are blocked right now. They're blocked, and it could just be because you want to keep the peace. It could be because you just want everything to be, at an equilibrium. You don't want any problems. You don't want this, you just don't want that to happen. You want to be in a safe space. You want to feel safe, and I completely understand that. But no matter what, we are going to always be placed in situations that will make us speak our truth regardless, right? We are always going to be put in those situations. And sometimes that requires us, and if we want to handle it in a calm manner, that's perfectly fine. I'm not saying go out there, cuss people out. I'm not saying, be ruthless. I'm not saying that. And although I do know that there are people who have very radical attitudes, some people are very radical. And sometimes they overly express things that they really don't need to. But in this sense, I feel like we need to, right? Now we're going to continue and say that we're going to continue. Responsibility is here. I live in truth. It's time to take action. Trust and thrive. We have the stag here. Birthing a new age. Birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. That's so crazy, guys, because I swear I was just talking about radicals. Now, if y'all know who the indigo children are, y'all know that they are all about change. Like, they are all about that. We are all about that, but they have like their own approach, right? And the thing about it is, the color that's coming to me actually is indigo. And it's wild because we have this. But the only way to build this world, the only way to get there from point A to point B, or from point A to point Z, is to speak the truth. The truth has to be exposed. That is exactly what this is saying. Because when we look at this card, and I don't really even care about reading this reverse right now, because looking at the overall picture, what I feel like is that instead of us trying to prove things to people, instead of us trying to get to a point of, why won't people believe me, or I'm trying to prove no, forget all that. What you need to do is speak your truth regardless, because it's going to show. Do you know what I mean? And it says transformation. You are experiencing enormous change right now, which brings great blessings. And what we need to understand about that is so powerful. This place that we're going to get to is going to get us to point Z or point B, or however you want to say. Home is that place. That is our place. But the only way to get there is to understand that being honest about how you feel, being honest about what it is that you're learning, being honest, living in truth is what is going to get us there. That's what's going to get us to point Z. This reading overall, for me, I'm not going to lie, I really just feel like you just need to open your mouth. And I hate to tell you what you need to do. Forgive me for saying that. But I want to encourage you to speak your truth and understand that no matter what, you are going to thrive regardless. You were made for this. This is perfect for you. There's no such thing as fear. There's no such thing as fear. Fear is such an illusion. And there should be no reason as to why we are not speaking our truth. And I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm going to give you a short, little story. It took me a while, to start making YouTube videos because I was afraid of speaking my truth. And I'm going to be honest. I was afraid that I was going to be trolled. I was afraid that nobody would listen to me. But you know what? I don't care if only 2 people look at this video. Because at the end of the day, I am speaking my truth and I am calling you out and saying, speak yours. Because the thing is that what I also want to say is that if we are praying for something, I pray for courage, God give me courage. Listen, you are not going to magically have courage. You are going to be placed in situations that are going to make you responsible for being courageous. I'm not kidding. And when you're working your magic, when you're working your candle magic or your rituals, understand that when you are aligning with the elements, if you're doing, whether you're doing fire magic, water magic, earth magic, air magic, whatever, when you are working with the elements, understand that you are paving a way, you are opening up doors, you are unlocking parts of your subconscious mind that, will move mountains. Like this is uncovering dirt, and footprints, and you're like looking at those footprints, like those little pebbles, and you're saying, look, I found this is where we went wrong, we should have went this way, right? And you are not being afraid to say that. And what I want to also say is that the fact that you are speaking your truth, the fact that you're being honest, the fact that you are not hiding anything, the fact that you're being open to understanding, more about yourself, the fact that you are the fact that you will no longer allow yourself to, again, weed out your feelings. Don't constantly, what I want to say is, you don't need to always go to people for answers, by the way. That's also what I want to say too, is that if you are looking to, speak your own truth and things like that and discover you're not going to always find them externally. You are not going to find those answers externally all the time. And sometimes things are like right in front of our faces, but sometimes we have to go within the deep to find that. Sometimes we have to dive deep and say, okay, what is it that I want? What is it that I feel like I deserve? Okay, how am I going to get there? Right? How is this person making me feel? Why does my family make me feel this way? Right? And what I see for a lot of people is I see as being very uncomfortable. Right? I see us being in a space that is extremely uncomfortable. I see us, and it's so funny because the fact that we have a clear quartz here, this kind of reminds me of having a peace of mind. This reminds me of, clearing our mind and like detoxing what it is that we were conditioned to think. And, getting rid of all that stuff and all that gunk in order for us to speak our own truth. We have to filter out the noise that is around us and say, you know what? I deserve it. This was meant for me. I am birthing something new. I am birthing this, but it is my responsibility to take the action and do what I have to do. And part of that is, again, filtering out the things that we are learning from other people, filtering out other people's emotions. Some of you are empaths. Some of you, if you're not an experienced empath, sometimes you'll end up feeling somebody else's emotions, or you'll end up, feeling somebody else's truth when it's not yours. And we have to be able to tap into our abilities, our own abilities, so that we can get to point Z. And that's what I feel like this overall reading for our number 2s are. Our number 2s, we are being called to, and I'm saying we because of course I'm included, with everybody, right? I'm not separate from you. We are all part of each other. That is what that is. We are being called to speak our truth and understand that in order to get to home, in order to get to that safe space, in order to be safe, sometimes that is operating in very uncomfortable conditions. I think Terence McKenna said once that the universe does not create under calm conditions or something like that. It's like a fire in a madhouse, right? I believe he says something along those lines. And what I am here to say to you is that in order for you to create, sometimes it is not the most comfortable thing. It's not. It's really not comfortable. But understand that no matter how uncomfortable that it is, we are going to get there. we're going to get there, and that is what we need. We need to be uncomfortable. And I actually have a story time for that I can talk about in another video. It's actually about a psychedelic trip that I had that I feel like is connected to this in a way. So if you'd like to hear more about that, let me know. I will be more than happy to talk about that in another video. I think it would be super awesome, especially for those who look like me and who don't, to know that psychedelics. Anyway, so yeah, speak your truth. Don't be afraid to stand up for what you feel is right. Do not be afraid of that. Now, we are moving on to our number 3s. Bam. Right here. And we have a Rose Quartz. I love Rose Quartz. She's so beautiful. I love her energy. She is so amazing. She has helped me through so many things. Okay. All right, so we are on to number 3s. All right, so we are on to our number 3 video. Oh my goodness, not video. Are you kidding me? Okay, so we are on to our number 3s. And for our number 3s, what I am led to say is that we know that there is a cycle or a habit or something needs to be let go, right? Something, it's like we know that something needs to shift. There's a shift that needs to happen. But the thing is that I feel like we are so overwhelmed with what is going on. We feel stuck. And in a way, I feel like what I want to say is that I feel like I want to say that we know what it is that we need. We know that we need to let go. We know that we need to move on, but we are refusing. This is a blatant refusal, I feel like. This is definitely a refusal. That is really what I'm feeling for some of us. And I don't mean that in a malicious way, and I don't mean to say that you are doing this on purpose, because I don't mean, yes, you're doing it on purpose, but at the same time, I feel like there's a reason behind that. And I feel like what it is unfinished business. That's what that is. And I feel like that's why we are refusing to go. Because we feel like if we leave, that it's just not going to work out. We want closure. That's what that is. We want closure. But what is it that we need closure from? Why do we really feel that we need the closure? What I feel like our guides are telling us is that we need to understand that if a situation is playing out the way that it is, that is all the closure we need. What else are you looking for? You may not be satisfied with that answer. You may not be satisfied with what's going on, but understand that regardless, this is what it is. This is what it is. And why put ourselves through all of that mental torment? Like, why put ourselves through that? Why are we doing this? Why are we overwhelming ourselves with these thoughts and ideas that we need to let go? Why are we not saying, you know what? Why are we not taking this for what it is? Why are we not moving on? Why are you stuck? Why do you feel like you need to, why do you feel like you need to just sit here? Because honestly, what we need to understand is that constantly looking for closure and constantly looking for closure is not going to do us any justice. That is not what that means. And I know that you may feel unloved from this situation. I know that you may feel like, your petals are just being plucked one by one. I know that you may feel that way, but there is no reason for you to sit there and torture yourself and not leave. There is no reason for that. And I mean that with all the love possible. It is okay. Like, I really feel called to tell you that it's okay. And I'm sending you hugs right now because what you need is a hug. You are so overwhelmed. You are just so overwhelmed right now. And you feel like it's not fair. You feel like this is not right. You feel like you deserve more. You feel like you deserve an explanation as to what happened, and to me, this has a lot to do. Now, this one I want to say for some of you, this does have a lot to do with emotional trauma. And I am not sure why I'm led to say that some of you have gone through sexual abuse. Remember in my introductory video where I said that I wanted to work on emotional psychological transformation? Well, unfortunately, for some of you, you were sexually abused as a child. You were sexually abused in your adult years, and I am telling you right now that you are looking for the closure. You are looking for answers to why this happened to you, and this doesn't have to do with sexual abuse. This can also do with any types of abuse, because any abuse on any spectrum is important, right? And we need to acknowledge that. And this is something that, was hidden for so long, and now it just feels like you are looking for answers. You are saying, why did you do this to me? Why did you make me feel that way? Why did you touch me that way? Or why did you say this that way? Why did you accuse me? Like, why did you make me feel like, why were you being so harsh with me? Why were you being so verbally abusive to me? And I really feel like right now we are under this, we need to understand that what we need to do is realize that our abusers or our oppressors and our abusers may or may not feel any guilt, any remorse. They may not, and it is not up to us to figure out or wonder why they don't care, or wonder why they did this to us. I understand that it is our natural reaction to want to know why, because that is our mind's way of like trying to make sure that we are understanding and we are downloading reasons as to why these situations happen. I know that is also, a part of our survival. That is definitely survival. The mind, will take any opportune moment in order to survive. And that means, filtering out certain things. And that also means taking in certain things and wanting to understand them. Because remember, for those of you that, didn't watch the earlier part of the video, I said that we are here to observe, collect, and go. And I know that a lot of people in the spiritual community are always talking about karma, right? I want to step outside of that for a moment, because I feel like this is not a karmic cycle. Because first of all, what I want to say is that karma in the wrong hands is very toxic, and it is very detrimental. And here's why I say that. For example, I mentioned some people are going through abuse, right? I am not going to sit here and tell you that, because of a past life, you're paying for that right now and it's going to be okay. I'm not saying that, because that's complete bullshit. And excuse my French again, but honestly, that's BS. Like, I'm not about to sit up here and tell you that, because again, I feel like, for one, we are conscious of this moment. So there's no way in hell I'm going to tell somebody, well, in this life you did this, so, this is probably why you got raped. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's not okay. That is not okay. So before you go to people, asking, what happened in my past life, and, this and all that stuff, you can, it's up to you. It's your life. You do what you want. But I'm here to tell you right now, what counts is right now. There is no excuse for anybody to abuse you. There's no excuse for that. There is absolutely no excuse. And I mean that with all the darkness energy that I have. There is no excuse. And we are not taking that shit. We are not taking it at all. Now, Ooh, sorry, but I had to really get that out there. But anyway, so you may be wondering why that happened, and you may be feeling overwhelmed. And these situations, I feel like, may be arising, and they may be, just kind of coming out of nowhere. They may be coming in so hard, like rings of fire. That is what I'm saying. I am seeing rings of fire of past situations that have happened. I am seeing volcanic eruptions. I am seeing us needing to leave, but we are refusing to go. It's like, we see that volcano erupting, but we don't want to leave this land because this is something that we've known for so long. This is something that we have existed on for so long, and it's like, I don't want to leave. I can't leave. I cannot. Why is this happening? Why won't this stop happening? I need to stay so I can find out why. Understand that when you move on and when you make that shift, when you do what you need to do to leave, you will get all the answers you need. You will get them all that you need. Now we're going to go on to move on to these. Cooperation. Completion. Wow, that's wild. We have, I keep my own counsel. Prosperity lies ahead. New moon in Taurus. Snake. Shed old skin. Damn, we leaving. Dance with life. Do something to change your energy. Wow. Sensitivity. You are becoming increasingly sensitive. Avoid harsh relationships, environments, situations, and chemicals. Guys, what the hell? That's wild, guys. And I'm going to explain why. And then we also have magic prayer. When I tell you, wow. First of all, what I want to say is that, wow, my God. Remember when I was talking about leaving and moving on? What it is that I feel like we are being called to do in order to change our situation is that leaving and shedding that skin and cooperating with what it is that we need to do, us doing that is it's extremely important. And the reason why we need to do this, the reason why we need to just, take these steps, kind of like how a ballerina is, taking her steps one at a time on her tippy toes. She may be moving slow or she may be leaping at the same time. She or he, or however they identify, may be leaping or taking walking on their tiptoes, and, at the same time, it's movement. It is movement. It is going, I don't want to say going with the flow, but what I want to say is that understanding that the only way to finish the dance is to dance. And in order to dance, you have to move. Right? In order to move, you got to cooperate. You got to get your body together. Your brain has to, process, okay, send signals to this arm to move, send signals to this toe to move. Do you know what I mean? It's cooperation. And in this sense, it's, look, there is something that's going to happen regardless of whether we want to leave or not. We have to. We have to leave. We have to go. We have to go. We have to go. Shed old skin. We have to shed these layers, and we have to purge and release, these things, and, us wanting, to get there. And of course, we're sensitive, right? We're sensitive to what's going on right now. And I completely understand that. We are sensitive. And we should, and that's understandable. I mean, we went through hell. Are you kidding me? Of course I'm sensitive. Right? And what I also want to say is that in order for us to channel that peace, in order for us to get to that point Z or point A or whomever, from point A to point B or Z, is we have to understand that letting go of the things that do not serve us anymore is the only way to go. It is the only way to get that breath of fresh air. It is the only thing, the thing that's keeping us underneath the current and underneath the water, needing air, is the fact that we refuse to swim up. And it's because we're so captivated by everything that's around us. We're afraid to move. We're afraid to move. But I can tell you right now that if you were to leave, if you were to say, you know what, I'm not staying here anymore. If you were to say, you know what, I don't care about fuck you and your culture. Oh my God, excuse me guys, I'm so sorry. but we're just going to keep it raw and authentic. I'm just going to be real with y'all. Look, if we leave, if you decide to leave, what I see coming from this is I see you talking to your guides. I see you talking to your guides. I see you removing and purging these negative energies and saying, you know what? I'm going to get there. And it is through your divineness that's how you're going to get there. You, again, were made for this. And I know that, things like this, it sounds so cliche to say, but what I want you guys to know is that you have the power. You have that. If anybody ever tells you that you don't have it, that is not true. And I don't want you to believe that. I want you to understand that what happened to you is not your fault. It is not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. And it is time for you to say, you know what? I am going to dance with this current. I'm going to surrender to this current. And I am going to flow. And I'm going to leave. Because this is not okay for me anymore. This situation has got me so overwhelmed. And what I want to kind of bring to your attention is that I create my own oils. And one of the oils that I use when I'm wanting to purge and banish energy, I use this oil here. This is my Hex and Banishing oil. I use that. And this blend, I can say, has helped me shed so many layers. I am not kidding. And when I want to connect with my spirit guides, I use this oil. I have a divination oil. When I want to connect with my higher self and my spirit guides, I use this. I hope you can see that. Yep, I use that. And these work for me so well. It just triggers something in me. It just triggers my subconscious. It's so triggering. The smells, the look, the feel. It's so triggering, right? I use it also in rituals and also candle magic too. They're really good for candle magic. So anyway, yeah. And so what we're doing is we are, getting rid of all of those things. We are shedding that skin, and we are saying, look, we are, using our mantras and our affirmations. Right? We are channeling that light, within our throat. We are using, we're using our throats. We're using our voice. We are calling in, we're setting intention. We're praying. We're chanting. That is what we're doing, right? We're using our voice as a form of power. Ashe, right? Ashe. That is our word. I don't really like to say blessed be that very much. I like to say Ashe. Ashe gives power to everything. So anyway, yeah, I'm telling you now, it's not your fault. It is not your fault. And I want you to know that I want you to not be stuck on trying to figure out why they did this to you. I don't want you to be stuck on that. I don't want you to be stuck in saying, stuck waiting for an apology that you probably are never going to get. Maybe you will get that apology. Maybe you won't. But what I want to say is that whether or not you get that apology or not, understand that it is through you. You are the key. You are the source. You are what's stopping you from moving on. It is you. And I mean that with all the love possible. I mean that. It is going to be okay. It is going to be okay. And I plan on making more videos, diving a little bit deeper into, emotional trauma, sexual trauma, psychological trauma, things like that. I want to get to those videos. I will get to those videos. But for my number 3s, please understand that it is going to be okay. you have a family here. You have a safe space here at Magic of Eden. So don't you ever forget that. Thank you everybody so much for watching and tuning in to my channel. I appreciate everything. I appreciate you all for listening. Your presence is always appreciated. If you want to see more from me, go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel. That way you can get the notifications. Excuse me, I am so new to this. This is wild. Anyway, please know that I am here for you. You have a safe space here at Magic of Eden, and I want you to know that you will be well taken care of. I will, if there's any other topics about spirituality that you want me to talk about, cool beans, just comment. If you want to see other videos about any other types of things like that, again, just let me know. Thank you much for watching. Bye.